Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch 2 video where I'm showing you a visualizer of where Widowmaker's one-shot kill ability on 200 HP heroes is going to be in the upcoming patch. This purple dome is going to be her effective one-shot kill range for 200 HP enemies, your squishies. So think that it's going to be even smaller dome when it comes to the 250 HP heroes, which Hanzo will no longer be able to one-shot as well. So as you can see, not that different on the first from the attacking side, but you won't be able to kill anybody down there or up there. That window is still going to be fair play from that range, but back here where a lot of people do like to challenge, again, can't kill anybody coming and challenging from there. And this window is just on the precipice of effective one-shot kill range, so it's going to depend on like how far they are peeking out. You won't be able to kill anybody from that window, but as you can see, I'll show here it coming just over the ledge. It's just going to be on the precipice of like how far they are. And on the streets phase, you're just really not going to have that much difference. Just that tunnel's going to be safe. This back far right corner is going to be safe. So she's not going to get one-shot kills on the squishiest targets in the game. Again, the effective range for one-shot kills is even going to be shorter against your 250 HP targets like your Reapers and your Maze. You won't be able to kill anybody in these back rooms as well. Common Widow spot being back here. Can't kill anybody with a one-shot kill back there. Again, anybody. These are just the squishiest characters. Here, it's not as bad. You'll just have to wait a little bit to get those on the defensive side. Again, in this area, nothing behind that car. Back there, be just on the edge, and then another common spot back here. You won't be able to challenge anybody on that high ground, even a little further up, and of course back there. So your soldiers and ashes are going to have a much easier time dealing against you right here. And coming out of the spawn, you have to wait a bit for them to come down that ramp, and you won't be able to challenge anyone at the height. You would have to come a bit closer here in order to challenge anyone coming out of that height immediately. And that's basically a visual aid for Junkertown as I show some gameplay here. So there'll be a couple of instances where that would not happen in the upcoming season, where they mentioned a lot of changes that they're making to one-shot kill potential via Widowmaker and Hanzo. They're adding crowd control to Mei and Cassidy. They're going to buff Lifeweaver in some way because he's really bad. He's got like a 38% win rate. And that's his highest win rate at any level, which is absurdly low. Lowest in the game by far. And Junker Queen's getting a nerf because she was the best in the game, then she got nerfed, was kind of the worst in the game, and now she was really strong again. They said the highest pick tank at GM, and I've seen a bit of her, and she is fairly good. As you can see, this range, I would not have been able to kill that Zen, even though I missed. And if he would have stayed up there, I would have been able to kill him, but the fact that he jumped out made him just barely in range for that still to be a one-shot kill in the new patch. But if he stayed up there, he would have been completely safe from a single one-shot kill. And just going to, focus on where I am going to be effective in the future. We're gonna have to temper our expectations on certain shots, but Widowmaker doesn't only rely on one-shot, one-kill potential. That's not even going to be the majority of her eliminations. It's still going to be the majority of her damage, right? You're going to get something low and then finished off, or maybe you're the finishing blow. But it's going to be an interesting change, and the fact that they decided to go after snipers, I feel like, is interesting. Hanzo is being has been for the past season or two complained about a lot for whatever reason, and he's like actually finally meta in the Overwatch League for the first time, only on a few maps. And we've seen him before, but he was very niche, and you'd have a specialist player like Kai pick him and have some pop-off moments, but he was never really a character who's like, all right, on this map you're going to see Hanzo. That was never really the case for any sort of consistent amount of time, and now we're finally seeing that. Even though it's only on a couple of maps, we're still seeing like, hey, there's going to be a Hanzo on both teams on this map, and that's kind of different. But people don't give Hanzo the same respect that they give Widow. So even though he has the ability to one-shot kill, people don't treat him the same way because he doesn't have that scope. That one-shot kill is going to be a bit more difficult for him to hit. And so sometimes, you know, it's a projectile, so it's got travel time. Sometimes you will willy-nilly shoot an arrow off because you think someone might come and you'll kill them and they'll get annoyed. But sometimes I have a sonic arrow there because I know you're going to come around that corner. I know you're going to come out of spawn, what have you. And the enemy is going to think that was just a lucky shot when actually it was a skill shot. So people don't give Hanzo the respect that he deserves and the range damage threat that he is. But I'll go more in depth on him on another video. For Widowmaker here, it's interesting because she's not really dominant at any level. She's never been dominant at the lower levels at the metal ranks. I'm fairly good with her for my level, for my rank. I pretty much always dominate when I do play her, but you know, not every time. And she's only going to be useful on a couple of maps that have these long sight lines, and that's not even the end of the nerf, is the damage range, which again, her max is she's going to reach max damage fall off at a closer distance than her damage fall off even begins where the game is right now. So it is fairly sizable nerf. This is a very big nerf for Widowmaker, and she's getting no buffs to counteract that. Usually when, you know, we get something nerfed that strong, especially that's something that's the identity of the character. She's the one-shot, one-kill character. She's a sniper rifle. It takes a while to charge, and it fires slowly because you have to wait for that charge to happen. And they're targeting that. They're going after that right now. And as you can see, you know, Pocketed Reaper, not going to get the one-shot kill, but he's still going to get absolutely slaughtered going for that cheeky Blizzard, even with the Mercy Pocket there. But this enemy team had a lot that they had to deal with. We had a Wrecking Ball flying all over the place. I'm popping heads. And our Torbjorn, his turrets never being even contested a little bit. So, like, I'm actually not even, like, the biggest issue for this enemy team. Our Wrecking Ball is going crazy, and our Torbjorn actually even does better than me in this game. But I felt like I did fairly well, and I do fairly well as Widow. She's not one of my most played DPS because of how non-consistent she can be on a lot of maps, and sometimes she's not the best play for what the enemy's running or for what you're running, even if the map might be friendly to her. But you know, some people, they have issues with getting one-shot killed at all in this game, especially since with Hanzo and Widow, it's not a cooldown or an ultimate that this is happening. It's part of their main kit. And that's kind of like the point of Widowmaker. Again, her ultimate's not that good. It's not like, it does not do damage. It's mainly going to benefit her outside of like revealing a Sombra who's cloaked or something like that, right? Her Venom Mine is barely going to get triggered in a game. It's not going to get a lot of kills. It doesn't do much damage. Her grapple keeps getting nerfed over and over again. So like that's not even an issue where she's not diveable. She is absolutely diveable. That is not an issue. I don't see a lot of Widowmakers, even at the highest ELOs, where she is like finally good to people, where people start playing her, because she's a difficult character to play. So only the best players tend to play her, and the best players tend to be at the higher levels, right? And some people, they try to force things that don't work. You know, they're dumb, and this weird main culture that's for some reason always existed within the Overwatch community, as if this was like Street Fighter and you need to pick a main and play them. That doesn't work. You need to know how to play pretty much every character within your role to be successful. That's just, it's a competitive game. It's a hard game. It's competitive, and therefore it's not going to be balanced. A competitive game can't be balanced because then it's not competitive. Take a look at a game like Call of Duty, a franchise that I left because they just did not incentivize you to be good at the game. They gave you so many tools to make bad players do just as well as good players. And that's not fun to me. So in a game that's competitive like Overwatch, that's not balanced, where good players will do well, you shouldn't take away that incentive to do well and perform well. And I'm not saying that this is going to kill the character. Widowmaker still will be useful, but like she's not meta at any, but she's not even used in Overwatch League, which is where we would see the most of her, right? You take a look at this season, we've almost saw none of her. I mean, in the past couple of months, we saw her maybe a desperate switch on a defense, try to pop off, and then it doesn't work because that's way too difficult. it's interesting that they're going after Widowmaker. And I don't know if the numbers support a nerf. I don't know what her pick rate and win rate is at any level, but I feel like if it was really big, they would have mentioned it, because like they mentioned it with Junker Queen, and they've talked about it with other balance patches that they've made in the past. But sometimes they just do not go off of raw numbers. Like Diva, she had a low pick rate and a bottom 2 win rate, and then they nerfed her. Orisa had one of the lowest win rates, and then they nerfed her. Is she getting, and now she has the lowest win rate in the entire game. Is Orisa going to get the Junker Queen treatment? It doesn't look like it, does it? Is Diva going to get the Junker Queen treatment? No. Mei is possibly the best DPS in the entire game. She's getting buffed this upcoming patch, guys. She's gaining CC, more stronger CC on her endothermic blaster, which was kind of like the main thing that I thought of when they said about getting rid of CC in Overwatch 2 when that was first announced, and they talked about, oh, Mei's no longer going to freeze. It's like, oh, good. That would have been super overpowered, and now she's not going to get the freeze, but like a hyper slow, and now Cassidy's going to get a slow / movement disability, so it's like it's a hack as well as a slow. I don't agree with the direction that these changes are being made, because like, go over your last game, your last play session. What was the issue on your team or the enemy team? Was it a Widowmaker popping off? It wasn't, was it? Was that the second biggest problem in that game? No. What about the game before? No. The session before? Still no. That's because Widowmaker is not an issue. Mei is possibly the best DPS in the game. She's meta from Bronze all the way to Overwatch League. She's one of the most picked DPS and is super duper strong, has a great mid fight. She can do long range damage and has one of the best ults in the entire game, maybe possibly even the best ult, probably behind, Ramatra's. But she's absolutely insane, and she's getting buffed. Symmetra is one of the best in the entire game. She's super easy to use, is playable on way more maps than Widowmaker, and is way easier than Widowmaker, and when she pops off is way stronger than when Widowmaker pops off. So, like, I don't know. Make it make sense, please, because Sim is good from Bronze all the way to Grandmasters, and she is not easy to shut down. Widowmaker isn't nearly played as much and is easier to shut down, and we're buffing Mei? Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. The nerf to Junker Queen makes sense. Lifeweaver obviously has some issues. I went over that in my last video. If you wanted to check that out, go ahead. The numbers back me up on how bad he is, that I said in that game. Obviously, it's possible to win. You can win with any character. Yeah, he's hard to play, but there's just no reason to pick him. And Widowmaker, while she's never been one of the best characters in Overwatch 2's life cycle throughout a vast majority of ranks, she's been pretty good on some maps, on some ranks, especially when people aren't used to them. I can absolutely farm, and we're just not going to do that as much, and we're going to be super duper challenged when an Ashe can two-shot us a lot faster than we can two-shot her at those ranges where we can no longer one-shot her. And same with Soldier with his Helix Rocket and things like that. And a Mercy Pocket isn't just going to fix that math. And even if it is, if you need a Mercy to make a character viable, that character's probably not viable unless it's Pharah, because she can fly and is not easily as dove, because not a lot of characters can go into the air and challenge that. Widowmaker, one of the better characters at doing that, because she can one-shot headshot. But that interaction I don't think is going to change all that much. So interesting direction that they're going for. I'll talk about Hanzo in another video, but I don't know. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but at least Widowmaker won't be useless post this patch. A lot of people wish that she was, though.